Hi, Andrea. Thank you so much for joining us on the Next Online podcast. We're very excited to have you on as our next guest. Now, before we jump into a lot of interesting topics today, I want you to kick us off by introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Karina. I really appreciate it. I have been in marketing for 25 years. I'm a little old. And I have done everything. I've worked myself up from a marketing coordinator all the way to a chief marketing officer. And then I've done marketing consulting, I've done marketing teaching. I have sold courses and memberships. I've literally done it all with marketing, even done volunteer work for nonprofits. So I've been around the block.
What an amazing journey. I mean, 25 years of experience and jumping from that marketing coordinating role all the way up into the CMO seat is truly incredible. And I know that you've also worked across large organizations and also as a solopreneur. So, how have those experiences shaped the way you think about marketing and the kind of work you actually enjoy doing?
Yeah. So in my corporate world, I have worked at tiny startups where I was the first hire, and I worked all the way. The biggest company was Transamerica, the $1 billion annuity life insurance company that is in San Francisco. So I've done all of that and I've made good money. But what I've enjoyed the most is every time I was a solopreneur doing my own thing on my own. Everything was on me. The strategy, the tech, actual, posting every single day kind of thing. And that has been the most enjoyable. And I actually right now have that again. I have my own marketing consulting business where I help coaches and consultants and service professionals with their marketing. So I get to tinker in the stuff that they're doing. And at the same time, I get to promote myself and work on that side of the business. And that has been the most fun. I feel like I learn the most when I'm an entrepreneur, when it's all on me. I don't have a team to rely on. I don't have a boss to ask a question to.
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
Well, what an exciting journey. I mean, I think that, having that entrepreneurial experience, it really does shape you, even in your career, if you go corporate, if you're still in corporate, right? Having that vibe to you, you understand what it's like to really be in the thick of things, grind it out, late nights, early mornings, all the things to really get to where you want to be. And I think it's very applicable to anyone navigating their career journey for sure.
Yeah. And I do think that the portfolio careers, right, is just a bigger and bigger thing. A lot of people that work in corporate, they have side hustles. A lot of people have multiple businesses. So I feel like that portfolio career has always been in me. When I was younger, we didn't really do that. You stayed at a company and you were very loyal and that's all you did. And, that loyalty has gone out of the window in the last 25 years on both the employee and the employer side in a lot of companies. And so people are protecting themselves and doing that portfolio career. And it's always been something that's been in me and just now it's at full force.
Yeah, fully out. I mean, what I think I saw something on TikTok the other day that was like normalize the side hustles. Like even if you are in that corporate job or even in like that full-time position, like normalize doing things on your own. Truly, that's what I got from it. So you've clearly embodied that, and I can't wait to dive in more here about all the things that you're doing on that side.
Yeah. And I think as a marketer, I think you learn so much more. I would rather have my employee do something on the side because they gain so many skills than just our company and that's all they know. And they're really not looking outside of whatever we're doing. So I think it's a benefit for companies as well as the individual person.
Absolutely. It's less siloed if you go out and like kind of expand and learn things and do new things on your own, because if you just stay in that one lane, then that's all you know, right? You got to get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. Because how many hats are you wearing right now, right? You're probably not only one hat. I'm sure you got like 30 on your head right now.
I do, absolutely. As a founder and someone who's not just a founder, but someone who's operating the business day to day, yeah, definitely many hats.
Mhm.
So I know that, marketing in general, it's changing fast, and especially with AI and the new ways people are searching information. So from your perspective, what feels most different about how people discover brands today compared to just a few years ago?
Yeah. I mean, a few years ago, right, all we really cared about was search engine optimization, SEO. And we were, targeting keywords and doing that type of things. And since with ChatGPT and Perplexity and Claude, they're actually looking on the web for us, right? For us companies, founders, whatever we are, you need to be able to make sure that your website is optimized and your brand is optimized for these searches, for these AI bots to find you. And there's a
Yeah.
whole alphabet soup that I know you know about, but we have AEO, we have GEO, we have AIO. And so what I actually teach and what I help a lot of my clients is with the GEO, which stands for generative engine optimization. And basically it's just getting cited in these AI tools like ChatGPT. And then you have AEO, which is kind of like the direct answer snippets that you need to make sure that you have on your website. So like a Google AI overview can grab you. And then you have AIO, which is the optimization of basically your content to make sure that it's readable. Some of it is on the front end of your website, and then some of it is on the back end of your website, which we call schema coding. It sounds more complicated than it is, but it's code that you put on the back end of the website that the AI bots can crawl so they know what your website's all about. So if you're able to optimize all of your stuff, your website, your blog, and even things that you're doing on Reddit, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, then
Yeah.
hopefully your brand or you are going to be showing up in these searches.
Absolutely. And I love the breakdown that you just gave because it's like it sounds super technical when you start saying all of these, acronyms for it. But once you really break it down, it truly becomes a little bit simple to understand. And I think that now a lot of people kind of sleep on the fact that like they think it's just for the website, but it's also for social as well. So the posts, the hashtags, the keywords they're even using in the captions, that also helps bring, that Google overview when you search up, hey, who is Andrea, you want to pop up there, right?
Yeah. And have you noticed when you do those searches on Google AI overview, it's so much YouTube right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's completely exploded over the last 3 months. I think when you mentioned earlier, I have a YouTube channel and it's pretty new because I've always done YouTube at the corporate companies that I've worked for, and I have a video person and they're in charge of it and I just happen to manage them. This is the first time I'm actually doing YouTube for myself just
Yeah.
because of that, because it's so important in AI search. And then another one that almost everybody overlooks is Reddit. I mean, again, when you go Google and you get your AI result on Google, so many like snippets from Reddit are coming up now first.
No, it's huge. I know that the community on there is growing so rapidly, and a lot of people even just turn to it to even understand like simple questions as well that you would probably ask AI nowadays. They still go on Reddit. So it's still pulling all this like information. It's crazy how the cycle works.
Yeah. Yeah. And even, like the old school stuff that we stopped doing, press releases, they kind of
Yeah.
died over the last 5 years. Like people are like, oh, why am I going to pay money for a press release? Nobody really cares. Those are coming back too because it's pulling from press releases. And so in that regard, I'm hoping a little bit that the media is going to have a comeback because journalism has been dying for a while now. But hopefully, maybe with this kind of stuff, it's going to have a heyday again. And we've already seen press releases make a comeback. I work with a company that is really literally just doing AI work with just press releases, and that's all they care about.
Right.
It's so niched.
It is niche now. And actually, now that you bring that up, I did a post the other day about AEO, GEO, all the things. And I literally had someone comment about the PR space because they were asking me what's my take on it. And I was like, because they were giving their opinion, and I was like, oh my goodness, I think that, the traditional marketing that we think is outdated, it's going to be the core function of everything moving forward. It's just now we have this AI layer that we just have to adapt to. It's
Oh my
simple.
God. You're so right. And I love that you said that, Karina, because everybody, when first GEO and all that stuff came out, everyone's like, SEO is dead. SEO is dead. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. It's not dead. You still need it. It's very important. And a lot of SEO actually helps GEO. So you're not losing out if you've optimized your site. You still want backlinks. You still want, people to quote you and all that good stuff. Yeah. The old stuff is making a comeback and it hasn't really gone away.
Yeah, I think that, people tend to forget like these are the core functions of marketing, and AI is just like this, like I was talking about this too just now before the podcast. It's like a little Iron Man suit that you put on to the person or put on to like your team so that it could boost the way they do things and even boost your content from that perspective as well. When you start putting all these keywords and stuff like that, that maybe you wouldn't have even thought of if you didn't play around with an AI tool.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's fun too. I really like it because it's been a little slow, I think, in marketing, at least in my opinion. It's kind of been the same thing, the same old, same old. And having this now come up is just, I'm learning every day. It changes every single day. And there's just so much excitement around it. And there's so much we can do. I mean, even having my own business, I'm going so much faster than I ever have in the past. And now what we're seeing, right, is all that AI slop out there. And so I think, again, from what you said, copywriters that were dead, they're now probably making a comeback too, right? Because we're going to see too much AI slop. And then people are going to be like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have fired our copywriter in lieu of AI. And
Yeah.
so I think, again, that whole circle, you call it different words, it ends up being the same thing.
It's true. And like for the copywriters, I know like there's been a lot of talk about them too being like scared, oh my gosh, AI is going to take my job. But now it's so funny because we're seeing, like you said, this cycle come back. And it's like, with these copywriters, they're going to come back even stronger because they've been probably learning all this AI stuff and it's making them 10 times more efficient as well in their job. So I can't wait to see how it plays out. And I know I've seen a lot of posts already. So I'm excited for it. I'm like, I'm not scared of this. I'm ready to jump right in.
Yeah. And Karina, have you seen how some of the jobs are changing the titles?
Yes.
I find it a little bit silly, to be honest, but I just saw brand engineer and now we're all
Yes.
engineers. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're not engineers.
It's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. So, first it was chief marketing officers, then started becoming chief growth officers.
Uh-huh.
And now we're probably going to be chief marketing engineer officers
Yeah.
or just AI engineer officers. It's funny. They're just trying so hard, right? But it is something that I make light of it, but it is our life now, right? If you are a marketer or you're a brand person or you are a copywriter and you're not learning AI, you will not have a job. That job will be gone next year. You're done. So it is something that's very important. So I hope that people can have fun with it because it's not going to go away and it's going to get 10 times, 20 times more important that you're able to do this stuff. And because of the engineering portion of it that we talked about, like with the brand engineer title, we are going to have to write code. We are going to have to go into Claude Code and play with that. Right now, I feel like a lot of marketers are still right in the AI section, in the chat section, and in Claude Cowork. And now that Claude Design came out, right, that's
I
all
was going
coming
to
out.
tell you that. Yeah. It just,
Yeah, yeah. I have a story for you on that one. But then the Claude Code is really where we're gonna is where most marketers are gonna have to start playing with because I'm seeing most of people in my field are not yet.
yeah.
Can we talk about Claude Design real fast?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
So I see all these people being like, "Oh my God, I saved so much time. I saved so much money." BS. So I was talking to a couple other marketers and we all played on it this week. Whenever it came out that first day, literally within 2 hours, our tokens were gone. It was
Yep.
so expensive that
Very.
it's like you can't really use this a lot. So no, it's not going to replace me doing design in Canva right now because it's way too expensive. And it's really not saving me money because it's literally like if I played with it all month long, I would be broke. so so that's been interesting how the pricing, we are going to see it change with all that too.
Yeah, for sure. Because I don't know if you've heard of Manus.
Mhm.
Okay, so with Manus, when it first released, like the credits, it would eat them up like this. They were super expensive. It was crazy to even just do one prompt that you put in, right? And you're done for the day. So now, like, they've completely changed their model as well. And it doesn't eat up the credits as fast and it's less expensive, but they did that over time. So I feel like when something first releases, of course, they have to make it like this, but they're going to quickly adapt because, like you said earlier, to your point, AI is changing so quick. So these
Yeah.
companies adapt to it, to the user feedback and stuff like that. Because if it keeps eating up all the credits like that, then no one's going to use it.
Yeah. And it is something scary too, right? Because now we're going to have problems with the rich are getting richer, which we've always had that problem, but it's even going to be more apparent because if you have money, yeah, you can get Manos. I don't know how to pronounce it. Manos,
Yes.
ChatGPT, Claude. You
Yeah.
can get all the things. If you're struggling and you don't have the money, you can't. So what's going to happen to those people that are actually not going to be able to do that, right? So it's definitely something that I'm keeping an eye on and seeing what's happening in that field when it comes to people and the difference between somebody that can do it and use it and the ones that don't. But then, you also have been seeing that plumbers and electricians are probably going to have jobs much longer than I will. So you never know what's going to happen in the future.
They're like, yeah, just go into like, I met an executive this past weekend at an event, and her son, she was like, oh yeah, he's studying to be like a marine biologist or something like that. And he wants to go out into the ocean and do this and that. She's like, yeah, you should do that because I'm using AI in my day to day. And in a couple years, this is done. And I was like, that's so crazy that she's like, yeah, like now we're actually encouraging our children to go into like labor and like, manual labor instead and all these like crazy fields that you don't really hear of because of the whole AI thing. I'm like, that was so interesting to me.
It's scary because my husband is an engineer and I'm a marketer. We're
Wow.
literally like the top 5 jobs that they're saying that's going to go away.
Yeah.
They'll change. I don't think they'll go away. They'll change. But it's kind of scary. And we talk about it sometimes. I'm like, I have 0 skills besides marketing. I don't knit. I'm not a plumber. I'm not an artist. Like I have no skills. My skill is my brain on the computer doing marketing.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Creativity.
I'm just going to double down on AI and I'll just teach AI and I'll do consulting on AI. And then that way, like, hopefully I'll be around.
No, absolutely. I feel like I said, like those that are not adapting to it, then you're going to be left behind. Like it is the way to go. Just lean in and there's going to be more opportunities later on. I don't think it's going to be replacing anything anytime soon.
And we're going to have all these new jobs that we don't even know about yet.
Yeah. There's going to be like a prompt engineer for this specific niche and then an engineer for this specific thing or function within the workflows that are going to start changing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So crazy. I could literally talk about this topic all day long.
I know. Me too. I actually just updated my tech stack on my websites and resumes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much more tech now. I'm like,
I know.
putting all the AI tools I've played with, like Kling and Nano Banana. And I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? Next year, so half of these are not going to be here. We just had
No,
one AI tool close down. I forgot the name of it. So who knows who's going to be here next year?
yeah, you're like, it's so funny. Like our tech stacks on the resumes are going to continuously grow and grow. And you'll see the ones that are outdated be like, oh, I remember when I used to use Claude. Like that's
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah, that's so cute. You were around when Claude was around.
Yeah, that's so funny. But okay, so I know also a big part of, your work focuses on organic growth and really building systems that actually work long term. So, what have you learned about creating marketing that actually doesn't really rely on these big budgets that we typically see?
Yeah, since I do help a lot of service professionals and a lot of them are solopreneurs, there's no budget. So we have to be extremely careful with what we do and what we spend our time and money on. And so I always set up all my clients with a marketing system, right? Where we really figure out who your niche is, who's your ideal client, where do they hang out, what do they talk about, how do they talk about themselves and their needs, really get into the pain points and get into the value that you provide. Funny enough, it sounds simple to someone like you, right? Because you've been around the block as well. A lot of people don't do this. And
Yeah.
so that's like really like the basis of the system. And then we figure out, okay, what do you like to do versus where do they hang out? Are you good at camera? Are you good at audio? Are you good at writing? Where do you people hang out? And then we'll figure out, okay, this is where you're going to hang out. And then I follow the rules of one for a lot of people that are starting out, that you are selling one service on one platform. You have one ideal client or ideal customer profile. And then you just stick with that for 1 year. And so we pick this one place for them to be on. And then we then put the content system together. And the content system is literally like a pillar system that I've created where we have, 3 to 5 pillars that you'll talk about. And some of them could be personal. It could be about your dog or about your kid or something like that. And then you have the other pillars that are like, what do you serve? How do you help? And then we put some system together, how often to post and what to post. And then I do repurposing quite a bit. Again, if you are a solopreneur or you're a small shop and you don't have staff, you have to repurpose. So for me, what that looks like is I write a YouTube script. And that is my hero. And then I will repurpose that into a bunch of mini clips. I use a tool called Opus Clips,
Yeah.
where I get like 30 clips like in seconds. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then I will repurpose that into a newsletter that I can send to my email newsletter. I happen to be on LinkedIn. So I also have a LinkedIn newsletter. And then I also have a Substack newsletter. And then I repurpose that again into these shorter maybe carousel posts or text posts or anything else that I can utilize. So I didn't spend that much time. I did this is once a month, twice a month where I find my one hero and then I just repurpose. And I use AI for the repurposing. I don't do much on my own there. So it's this really quick system that lets people be able to post every single day. I've had some clients come to me and they're still working full time, 9 to 5. And they're like, Andrea, I can't post 5 times a day. Like or 5 times a week. I don't have that kind of bandwidth. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. We can get you posted 5 to 10 times a week. Super easy. You don't even have to do much. And so that's part of the system. And then the last part of the system, right, is now you have all these people looking at you. What is the system where you actually get them into your world, right? So I always help them with a lead magnet, whether that's like an AI bot or a quiz or just a simple PDF. People are still downloading those for now. And then we get them on the email list. We have a welcome email series, and then we do a nurture series into the sales funnel. And so these are all little mini systems within the big system. And it's overlooked. It's a simple thing for me because I've been doing it for 25 years. I've done this literally for enterprise companies, and I'm doing this for individual solopreneurs and startups. It's just something that once you have the system down, you figure out how to do it and you really streamline, then your marketing just runs, half of it runs on its own. And then the other half is just going to be easier for you because you know what to do, you know when to do it and how to do it. And you don't have to start thinking every day like, oh, what's a new idea I have? Well, no, just look at your pillars. You already have your ideas. That's the system. I've tried to simplify it as much as I can.
No, I was going to say, like, you really explain that so easily. I feel like that someone who maybe isn't in the industry like we are could really understand what it means to go through this, almost like this blueprint that you've laid out to even build a marketing system or to understand it in that way. I feel like a lot of people that aren't in the industry have trouble understanding even what pillars are, or, how do you create so many ideas from one idea, right? And I think the breakdown that you just gave was perfect for that. So thank you for sharing, because I loved it just flowed seamlessly. I'm like, you're speaking my lingo right now. Like this, so this whole content operating system is exactly what I like to say as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. Love that.
Yeah. So I know that also we mentioned YouTube a little bit earlier, but I want to jump back into that because I know that you've been building your own presence there. And like you said, fully on your own now. And you've also done a podcast before, or you're doing one currently?
No, I don't have it now. I had a business 6 years ago and I had a podcast there. Currently, I'm just concentrating on YouTube, but there might be a podcast in there in the future.
Ooh, I love to hear that.
Guess who will
So,
be my guest?
oh, how nice. How do you think about showing up consistently and building something that lasts over time?
Yeah. You have to make that decision before you do it. You got to be consistent. I mean, too many people, will throw something out there and then they'll do like one podcast every 2 months or one newsletter every 3 months. It just doesn't work. You have to really be realistic. What can you do? Whatever consistency you decide, and are you going to stick with it? And that's what you do. So for example, I didn't listen to myself, what I just said. And when I started YouTube, I'm like, I'm going to do 30 videos in 30 days. I pooped out at video 15. I was like, this is crazy. I cannot do these many
Wow.
videos. And so then I was like, I'm going to do 3 a week. I did that for a couple of weeks. I did 3 a week and then I pooped out on that. And now I settled to 2 times a week. And had I really been realistic at the beginning, I would have done that, right? So I try to help my clients not to do my mistakes because it's so important to be consistent. And then between podcasts and YouTube, I like both. But if you do a podcast, I don't believe that you should do audio only anymore. You should do what Karina does and you should do a video one. Video is where it's at and you really want to be on YouTube. YouTube is a beast. YouTube is not an easy one, especially editing and all that work. It takes forever. So if you can hire an editor, do it. Do it if you can. If you can't hire an editor and you have to do it yourself, maybe just do minor editing. There's so many tools too that help you. I use Descript for editing. They have an AI tool inside of there, which also makes it really easy to take out filler words and things like that. So it's something that I really recommend. And again, YouTube is, because of the AI stuff that we talked about earlier, very important. So if you can do a podcast, do it with video and put it on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like people love also just watching things, right? So, and seeing the people behind them too, you get to actually see the interaction and throughout the videos and stuff like that. And that's what makes it a little bit more engaging. You're right, than just the audio piece. Cause we actually just launched our YouTube just not too long ago. We haven't formally put it out yet. We're going to do a little rollout of a campaign, but all 50 episodes are up and running now. So we're slowly, surely getting there.
That's awesome. And congratulations on 50 episodes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, like you said, the consistency has to be, we were very realistic with our schedule and we're like, okay, we're going to aim for twice a week. We're going to do launches and just keep pumping out content, when we need to promote it. But like you said, consistency is key with everything, like even just content in general.
Yeah, it really is. And you have to just really be realistic. And that's why I always go back to my rules of one. Like just pick one when you first start out, because if you're going to be on every single social media platform, plus you're going to have a podcast, plus you're going to have a YouTube, it's never going to work. I can tell you that now. I've never met anybody that started out like that and continued or was consistent. Never, not once. And I've helped over 5,000 people at this point. Not one of them has stuck to doing all the things on all the platforms. So do the opposite. Start out with one and then you can grow, right? You get perfect at this one. You find yourself, you have a couple more hours of the day. Maybe you're watching too much TV. Well, then stop watching TV, go on that second platform.
Yeah.
So it's better to start out that way.
No, I agree. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people who maybe aren't in the industry, they're like, oh, I want to be on every single platform. I want to just start right away. And then you quickly realize when you're doing that content alone, that's not sustainable unless you actually focus on one and then scale later. That's even what we did at Social Craft. And I remember even like the first few team members that I had, they were like, let's go on here, let's go on there. I was like, I love it. Yes, I'm all for it, but let's start off on LinkedIn. We're going to start off on LinkedIn and then go from there. And then it's easier because, like you said, you build this repeatable content system and you're able to actually focus on the pillars and focus on the content, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Talking about LinkedIn, Karina, are you noticing quite a drop on company pages? I keep reading how company pages are taking nosedives and now CEOs like you need to be posting more than the company. Have you guys been seeing that?
Actually, we've seen in terms of engagement, it has been a little bit low on the company side, but followers, we're starting to gain more followers on LinkedIn, surprisingly. But it's because also my personal brand, we've been focusing heavy on that as well. And also our internal team members too. They've been posting on their personal brands and the reach is greater on there than the company page for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome that you have your staff doing it.
Yeah, they're super for it. Like they're all like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to do my personal brand and do the things on their POV on what it's like to, let's say, be a content strategist at Social Craft or a marketing assistant and the things that they're doing in their day to day and even personal stuff. Like you said, like, we have someone on the team that she loves Disney and she kind of ties that into her day to day and the things that she likes to do on the weekend and what we allow her to also do when she takes her time off, right? So, she posts that and it also helps with company culture, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I love that you're doing that. That's great.
Yeah, we love it. So they're all for it. And I definitely agree. Personal branding is very, very strong right now. So I think with everything changing, we talked about a little bit the AI, the content, the platforms. How do you personally stay grounded and focus on what actually matters in your work?
Oh, this is so hard with AI. Staying focused. And it doesn't help that my husband's a nerd and I'm a nerd because we've been through every single tool between the two of us. We're like, look at this, look at that. And I think we're trying to outdo each other a little bit, which doesn't help. So being focused is difficult. But what I decided is that Claude is the big thing right now, especially when everybody was leaving ChatGPT to go to Claude. So I'm really just honing in on Claude for most of my business, creating AI staff members on projects and using co-work and using those types of things and the integrations. And so that's the way that I'm keeping myself in check, where I'm just like, okay, Claude's good. Claude has new stuff. Learn that. You don't need to learn all the other tools right now. I want to still hear about them and I read about them. I sign up for different newsletters where I know what's going on so I can talk intelligent about what's happening. But that was the way that I can stay disciplined, is just using one tool. There are obviously situations where you need multiple tools. I mentioned Opus Clips earlier. That could
Yeah.
be called an AI tool. But for the most part, I try to stick with one and to keep disciplined and stay on that, and then get myself educated wherever I can on what's happening around me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I feel like if you try to keep up with everything, it can also get very overwhelming as well. And why not try to learn one really, really good that's, Claude is actually picking up steam right now. I think it's in the lead. Then later on, you can always just try out the rest if, let's say, Claude is old news. You never know.
Yeah, it totally could be.
Yeah. And now, as we go into our last question, I want you to think a little bit about the next generation of marketers entering this space that we're in. So, what advice would you give them as they try to build their careers and in a way that's going to be both sustainable and meaningful in this era?
Yeah, we talked about a lot of this already in our conversation. So, first and foremost, no AI. Learn it, breathe it, live it, use it. The
Yeah.
other thing that we did not talk about is I really believe that a marketer should have a generalist skill set. So when you're just learning brand, or you're just copywriting, or you're just an email marketing manager, that can hurt you later on, because same thing, right? Like, right, a lot of copywriters have lost their jobs with AI. Had they known everything, they could have just hopped over to another marketing skill. There's so many different marketing skills to have. So having that general knowledge is super, super important. So AI, general knowledge. You can still specialize in something, but have the general knowledge. Number 3, we also talked about, I really do believe having a portfolio career is the right way to go. You don't have to go all in. You can spend 2 hours a week on something on the side, or just grow your Instagram or grow your YouTube or whatever you want to do. Because, and this is a little bit of a negative mindset, but I've seen it. I've worked at very many different companies. You are a number in corporate.
Yeah.
Smaller shops might take better care of you.
Mhm.
Big corporate, you are a number. You die tomorrow, you get replaced the next day. So you don't want to be that loyal to that kind of company. If you have a company that doesn't feel like that, be loyal, give them everything. But for 90% of the companies out there, they don't care about you. You don't need to care about them. So what you need to do is work on that portfolio career, work on that side hustle. Always have your resume ready. Always please have it ready. And then the last thing is that because of the always shifting thing of what's happening, you need to be agile. I worked with somebody, unfortunately, that we had to let go. That person just refused to use AI for their job. And it was one of those jobs that needed to be AI heavy. And they're
Yeah.
just like, no, I just don't, I want it to be like for me, and I want it to be unique, and da, 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 da. And we had to let them go. So you have to be agile. If, new things are coming in your company, wherever you're working, embrace it, learn it. The more you learn, it's better for your brain anyways. It's better for longevity. It could be annoying, but still learn it and just be agile. Again, with the names that we said earlier, used to be a brand manager. Now we're seeing that they're called brand engineers, right? There's always these pivots, and just make sure that you understand marketing will change. Marketing requires you to pivot and requires you to be agile.
Absolutely. And I couldn't have thought of a better way to end off this podcast. I mean, you have shared so much wisdom with us today, and I can't thank you enough for saying yes and for being a guest on our podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.